So,
right?
Coach,
Yeah.
I got a fair idea of what you had mentioned. I had also read up a little about FRC, so I was able to perfectly correlate to what you had told. Thanks a lot, Coach.
Sure. Here we go.
The other thing I think, which is a common question. Oh, I mean, unless Rajesh, do you want to ask a question?
Yeah, sorry, I will. Thank you. Good evening, Coach.
Hi.
Coach, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have few basic questions even after doing this 1 month of training. Could you please elaborate on that waking up that legs? It is that especially during that warm up, it is hardly 2 minutes interval there, 5 stages of 2 minutes, and in that 1 minute fast cycling, 1 minute slow cycling, and with that power number also very low, I find it very difficult to sync with that. So could you please elaborate on that first?
Okay. Yeah. So what basically happens during the warm up, right, is first of all you get the legs open really, so the open and allow the blood flow, right? So doing those spins is now actually using stress on those fast twitch fibers again, right? So because movement is fast, those fibers need to kick in at some point, and that's why we need to do it. However, meaning that sometimes the resistance force is less probably for you then, right? To get it coordinated and to be coordinated. So what you can do is, for example, if you're a trainer, switch the ERG mode off, switch the ERG mode off, and just do it and allow the power to increase. That's not an issue, right? But
I'm always doing it on the road, Coach.
Okay, well then, ride up a hill. Go into the wind.
Okay. Fine.
No, but yeah, at least try to spin it a bit more, right? Because it's
Okay.
just enabling those fast twitch fibers to when we continue into the real workout, basically into the main part of the workout, it's just to allow those fibers to be flushed basically with new blood and so the energy is also provided to those fiber before you hit them hard. That's the only really thing, right? If for example you're in traffic, you accelerate through traffic, that does the trick. I mean, you stomp for a few times, right? That does the trick as well. It's just to activate the whole muscle and not just the slow twitchers, right? To start riding, which is initially good enough, but at the end of the warm up, I always get some bursts in there, and then continue along with the main set.
That is towards the end of the warm up phase. It should be. My fast twitch muscle should be ready.
Yeah, correct. And this doesn't have to be if you like go on an endurance ride where you just pedal along for another 2 hours, right? And you say, well, I don't do any intensity today, like the one tomorrow, basically, which is thought to be endurance. Endurance one, but not stressing the muscles really and doing it. That's when that's when you can skip those as well. It's always nice to, as we said before, right? For sprinting, you need some faster cadences as well. It's nice to practice, but on a day like tomorrow, I know we have the warm up still, but it's not really required. So if you want to skip it, do it on those days. Don't do it on a day where we have like the VO2s or like a sweet spot and stuff like that, because that's when you need it really. Tomorrow would be a day where you can say, well, okay, I'm not like crazy today. I'm just doing easy stuff. That's when you can do that as well.
Okay, now I have a clear understanding on how and why to do it. Okay. And one more question is, when I'm doing this steady endurance ride and all, I could always see there is a mismatch between my power zone and heart rate zone. Predominantly, that endurance part that comes under the zone 2 power, whereas my heart in zone 1. What could be the reason? Is it something to do with the device, or
I didn't, you were cut out in the middle. Is your heart rate at a higher zone or at a lower zone?
lower zone? Lower zone. My power zone is always
higher than the heart rate zone is.
Not too bad of a news. Would be worried if it's the other way around. No, but worry too much. I wouldn't worry too much. How much cadence do you have? What's the cadence?
it's around 85, 84,
Okay.
85.
Yeah, because cadence has an influence, right? So if
Okay.
if it would be lower cadence, I would say, well, that's actually a good match. 85 is actually for endurance pace pretty high already. So the heart rate should actually be in that range as well. But don't worry too much. Don't worry too much.
Okay. Actually, before coming to this structured training, I used to hit higher cadence numbers. But now on seeing these power numbers, it is automatically down. I'm just trying to push as much as I can, and my cadence level is suffering. Previously, I was not bothering about this power and all. I used to spin at 90, 95 also. Now, when I'm riding in that zone 2, I am doing 94 or 95. And when I'm coming to zone 3, it just comes below 90.
Yeah, actually, the other way around would be even better, because think about it this way, as we said about sprinting, right? So sprinting is like getting both high strength and a high cadence to the same point. That's the highest power, right?
Yeah, that you explained to Vikram.
Yeah.
I understood that.
Yeah. So if we go from that point down, you can also say, and it's totally true, if you don't have a super high power number, you also don't have a cadence of 90. It's just still around everybody, right? We need to spin, spin. But why do the pros, for example, spin so high? Well, because they put out massive amounts of power. They do 400 watts for a long time. That's why they need to spin. And because they spin so fast, they can reduce the force which is required to get to that 400 watts. That's why they spin so fast. If you don't have to have 400 watts, but you can also do 150 watts comfortably, then you can also do like between 60 and 70 cadence, and it actually feels right. So there's research out there now showing exactly that, even for pro cyclists. So if they had two groups, right? One group of pro cyclists, how much the amount was, but it's a study, a good research paper. So they had one group do endurance pace for them, individual endurance riding at 90 km. And the other group, they did the endurance part at 70. And then they do a power test. The group which were spinning on the endurance part had a lower power test than the ones who were comfortably riding with a kind of relaxed cadence, showing you and showing us, well, yeah, it's like interconnected, right? Lower power numbers doesn't demand super high cadences, but as we go to sprinting, it needs to follow along. You need to be faster to get to those higher powers. That's the way it goes.
Okay.
And now
Sure,
it's
concentrate more on improving my.
Yeah, just relate a bit more to it. Yeah, less power, also relaxed cadence. More power, well, a little bit more cadence. That's probably what you can try to tell you. However, obviously, as we said before, to be able to sprint, at some point you need to have fast legs. So you need to train for fast legs. But it doesn't make sense. Let's say you want to road race, and you want to compete well, right? So you enter that road race. It doesn't make sense on that road race if you sit in the group to pedal along with 95 with the group, sitting in a bunch. Just switch to 70 and it feels totally relaxed. You're just pedaling along with 70, right? And then when it counts, that's when you need to spin up, obviously, what you would anyway, right? But you don't have to sit like this in a group.
Okay.
You'll have the better performance in the end. Yeah.
Okay, good. Understood.
And
So
coach,
one more-
I have one point here. So since we are all into this training, so see, I think now many of us are watching these power numbers a lot, right? So it's good that we compare ourselves with ourselves, like the power numbers especially. So that's how we improve. Like individuals' power numbers differs. So it doesn't mean that a person who has a bigger power number is a better cyclist. So it doesn't give you a kind of, it gives you a kind of false impression that a bigger number, you hit the bigger number, you become better. So I think you can add some thoughts to it. Like we are all training with power meters, especially probably for the most like less than a month or couple of months. So these comparing these numbers, how do we like go forward? Like my FTP is lesser than somebody else's FTP. So is it the right way to compare, or is that an individual's number, or is that just FTP is just a part of a bigger picture?
So cycling is the biggest picture, and FTP is a great part of it, but also just one dot in the whole book, right? I mean, obviously, it tells you something about your aerobic capacity. Let's use that word. But it's one part of it, right? We talked about FRC, and yeah, as we see, right? So specific specific rider or a rider type, right, needs to have some of those parameters we created to a more or to a less extent. Let's just put it that way. The great thing about having the power and having a power training now is that you can compare yourself with yourself. So
yes,
we
coach.
want to see that improvement. That's great initially. And then obviously if you tell me, hey, I want to be the best sprinter, then we need to go in a different way, right? Because then P-max is everything and everything else is basically out of the books, right? It doesn't even matter, right? If you want to do time trials, FTP is the biggest concern we have, obviously, but also with the.
So how important is it to measure our power to weight ratio, coach? Like, is it important in terms of comparing, or just the FTP number alone would make sense?
The best comparison is honestly the VO2. So what's your VO2? Because it's already a relative number. So it includes basically your weight as well, and amazing. I mean, looking at 70 plus to get into pro levels, you need to be 70, 75, closer to 80, and 90 would be like the gold star, right? But that's basically how much milliliters they can get per
what
kilo.
What should be the number that somebody like me should target, coach?
Like a decent. I mean, looking at the European scene, right? A decent rider has around a 60, which means, like in my case, I'm below 50 right now. But if I want to have a 60, I need to be around 75 kgs. I am 90 now, and I need to have an FTP of around 330 watts. Around. Yeah, like 4.5 watts per kilogram. That's what we look. But if you want to look at the VO2, it's like a 60 to be in a decent shape for European, and that's just recreational. Well, like races everyone can attend, right? No license required. To be in a front field there. That's what you would need. And at 70, that's when the real trick starts, right? So, some guys might even a 70 and be in the pro levels, but they need to be, they need to work hard, right? Where others, which already come with a 75, 80, they don't need to work that hard. It's just basically talent, right? So VO2 would be a great number to look at. And then it's also what you do with your VO2. So you will never have the best threshold at your highest VO2. That's not possible, right? Or otherwise you're actually not training right. If the VO2 didn't come down, then you didn't see the max threshold yet. So that's a way to look at it too. And again, because there's an anaerobic part to it as well. That's also.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah.
Coach, one more question. You have given me a slightly higher power numbers than what I have actually fed. Any specific reason for that, Coach?
To get your heart rate up.
Oh, okay.
No, it was, yeah, it was probably needed. Yeah. So you'll probably see that the heart rate now is coming closer as well. Yeah.
Okay.
And
because
it might.
2 months back, I did one treadmill test and I reached the maximum heart rate of about 184 or 185. But in cycling, I'm not able to reach that at all. When I did the TT also, the max was 178 something. That's it.
Correct. And yeah, that's okay, because if you do a treadmill test, there's a lot more body parts involved into the exercise, which actually drives the heart rate higher. That's absolutely correct. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Coach, speaking of VO2 max, in your figures you had showed me about 43 or something, whereas my Garmin shows it as 48 or 49. I mean, where does this difference come from?
Yeah, the Garmin only takes like one. It's you can even Google it. It's the American College ACSM, American College of Science and Medicine, I think that's called. It's a formula basically where you can enter it, and Garmin uses just one duration figure for that. However, I use a little bit more of those, like a duration basically from 2 minutes out to 8 minutes, right? And that's evaluated in the analytic tool to get the VO2. So the VO2s are pretty accurate from the WKO software I have, from the analytic software I have. And for the VO2, if you would do a VO2 test in a laboratory, right, that might be a different number though. It's again, you need to compare the same thing with the same protocols, right? So if you want to do a laboratory test, you need to go to the laboratory, actually to the same laboratory and do the same test all the time for you to be able to compare things, right? And to really say, okay, this is what I did 3 months ago. This is what I did, what I do now. And that's probably where I am in 3 months or 6 months, right? So it's not always the same number. There's a RAM protocol. There's like where you basically increase every second, it increases the watts. Then there is like a stair protocol or a stepping stair protocol, like 3-minute intervals of 230 even they have. So you have 2 minutes 30, the same wattage, and then it jumps up again, some 30 or 50 watts. So there's a lot of protocols out there, how they test it. And that's also obviously a factor of, the number you end at. Yeah.
Understood.
So
understood. Coach, well, I think, I mean, the last question that I have, which is quite a common question for everybody, is about nutrition. Pre-ride nutrition, post-ride nutrition, and
Yeah.
general nutrition, what is required for us to do the kind of efforts that you have given us as a workout, schedule. So we'd like to understand.
Yeah, to make it simple, for tomorrow's endurance ride, even if your muscles are completely full at the beginning of the ride, since the energy demand during the ride is not amazingly high, not a super high value, right? You can eat during the ride and you'll be fine. So eating during the ride would be good things like, yeah, as I said, bananas, and bars, gels, if you like it, on an endurance ride where you are still able to breathe and you're also still able to talk, right? You can, I prefer some bars there, or like real food, like some, yeah, some bit of a bread, for example, in Germany, or like stuff like that, right? Or a cake, whatever. During a VO2 ride, as I said, it might also be the fuel, right? You need to be full before the ride. So the glycogen stores in your muscles should be, yeah, close to full, which means you have to eat prior. And the best thing to do is to eat 2 to 3 hours prior to the ride itself, right? And that's when you also don't want to have those sugary stuff. That's where you don't want to have the banana, don't want to have the bar, don't want to have a gel or stuff like that. That's where you want to have like brown rice, potatoes, but also a mixture with protein, right? So a full meal basically, right? Little bit of chicken maybe, if you're into that. If you're vegan, basically also an assortment, right, of protein and carbs, but not those quick kicking carbs, like the more sugary stuff, more like the brown stuff, like the yeah, not so insulin.
Fibrous,
Yeah. More fibers, correct. That's also reducing the insulin spikes. That's what you should eat 2 to 3 hours prior, right? And then I wouldn't eat anything in between, because you eat, the body's in an absorption mode and basically tries to deliver the energy to the muscles, right? And to the bloodstream, to the liver, to everything. And then you don't want to hinder that, and then hop on the bike, do the warm-up, and for a VO2, for example, even during the warm-up already, where the muscles are already moving, that's when you can start to eat like bars and sugary stuff, even chewing, even some small gums or gels, which have a lot of sugar in them, because now it's also different for the body how he goes along with the sugar, right? Because if you're just sitting in a chair eating sugar, not really good for you. But if you're in a movement and if you're working hard, then you can eat sugar, because the sugar goes to the muscle and the muscle burns it right away. That's the difference, right? And that's when I started eating. And then during a VO2, eat all the time. I mean, in between the intervals, try to eat, and you'll feel much better, and you'll feel much more energized, and you'll feel happy as well in between. You're not like, oh, I feel like quitting. No, it's hard, but it's okay. Yeah, I can suffer through them. That's why you should get it. Yeah. So not so big of a deal if you are below threshold in general. Just eat along as you ride, because obviously you expend energy, but not like crazy. If you do hard intervals, anaerobic, VO2 style, micro bursts, stuff like that, well, wow, that's a carb burning exercise, nothing else. So eat. Yeah.
Coach, but just one question. Now here in India, as you're aware, we start riding really early in the morning. So sometimes we start a ride at 5 o'clock if it's going to be an
Yeah.
outdoor ride because of
Yeah.
the traffic and the weather. In that case, the similar eating pattern should have been followed the previous night. Is that right? The carbs and the proteins, probably.
Correct. And before I would do VO2s, since what happens during the night, right? So our body recovers. So if you had a good dinner, for example, right, with all those carbs and we said, right, the body will be able to store the glycogen. That's the first thing. And once the glycogen is in the muscle, it's not getting out. Either if you would starve, right, it stays in the muscle. It cannot go out anymore. So that's the good news. However, what happens as well is like the liver also has a little bit of a buffering capacity to be able to get the blood sugar levels in a controlled level, right? And quickly. And this one you're gonna lose over the nighttime. So let's say this morning, right? You had a great dinner on yesterday night, right? You got up today and say, well, I need to do a VO2. What do I do? Well, having a breakfast like half an hour or an hour to the right doesn't do the trick, because it will still be in your stomach and it's not gonna help you at all, right, for the workout. So I would suggest don't eat at all. Hop on the bike or hop in the car, drive to the safe place, right? Get the bike out, hop on the bike. Now start eating right away, and give the warm up a little bit more time. So just do a half an hour easy spin, but have the breakfast basically while riding, and that's already the sugary one, right? So you can also start to have the sugar there. So you basically get maximum out of the blood sugar level, and then you're good to go. That would be the best approach.
Got it. Thanks, Coach.
Coach, I have one last question. So there is a specific issue that I'm facing. I don't know when it comes. Like I get this cramps that come up on the inner thighs, very very particularly on the inner thighs. I don't get it anywhere else in my legs, and it's not regularly on every ride. And most 99.9% it's on an outdoor ride, and there are no symptoms at all like when it comes up, and it causes a kind of a very a stopping kind of pain, like I won't be able to pedal along anymore, had to stop, then probably do some stretches, then I need to start back again. So it doesn't happen on every ride, very random thing. So is there something that needs to be done with the nutrition? I don't know, like I tried many things, taking salt. Yeah, so
after you had the cramp and you did some stretching, right, and got off the saddle and took a break,
yes.
Immediately? No.
Sorry, Coach,
Will it come back immediately thereafter? No.
No, it doesn't come back immediately.
Try a different saddle.
Okay.
It sounds to me like you're hitting a nerve there. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe do some exercises around the hip, like back bends and stuff like that, and like the what is it, pigeon pose? Is it a pigeon pose where you get up, right, and
yes,
like this, do some poses like that, and try, because that sounds more like a issue of the nervous system than it sounds to me like really like nutrition wise, right, like salt or try that first. And by the way, what a lot of guys do, however, since cramps are always a big issue, you just cannot throw in salt with water, right? Because it goes up here and then it goes down somewhere else, and it exits the body somewhere else, and it's basically the water with salt which came in gets out the same way. You need to eat as well to get all those salts like calcium, magnesium, and all that minerals. To get all the minerals in, you eat as well. So that's what most of the part is missing in the literature sometimes as well. you cannot just drink it.
I don't
The
know when
absorption
this
won't be-
exactly hits me. Like that is the biggest problem, coach. Like I'm not
Yeah.
able to predict before, like without having a breakfast on an empty stomach. Does it have? I cannot judge. Like I don't have any kind of
Yeah.
precedence. Like I've done rides without taking anything, empty stomach. I've not had
Yeah.
issues. I've done rides with just a single bottle of water, a race of 80 kilometers. Nothing had happened. But it comes up without even a warning, like and hits me. Like I need to ideally stop, then probably take 5-10 minutes, stretch it out,
Yeah.
and then restart. So I don't know what happens, like what triggers this.
So try a different saddle, and I
Okay.
wouldn't one just try any other like other bike riders and say, hey, you have still a saddle at home, let me change it. So that because there's a lot of brands out there saying, well, this is saddle. Well, it's not the saddle for everyone. It's just the way it is. You need to see a few and feel a few saddles, and then you'll feel what's right.
I'll get in touch with Srivatsan is there, so he
Yeah.
would help me on that.
Mhm.
So I take Srivatsan's advice more than anything on these kind of bike
Oh
fit
yeah,
issues.
correct.
Definitely. Thanks, coach. So
That's
I'll get in touch with
that's his
Srivatsan.
business. Correct.
Coach, I have a similar issue, but only the context is different. Whenever I do 100 plus kilometer ride, during the ride, I don't face this inner thigh cramp issue. After coming home and lying down for about 2-3 hours, and when I try to get up or when I just switch my leg position, it just pulls in.
Yeah.
Sometimes it has happened 3-4 hours after the ride also. I don't know because I have taken enough water and all those things, but still it comes. I don't know why. Especially in some awkward way, if I move my leg, it comes immediately. My wife is calling for, okay, come for lunch. I just try to get up and it immediately pulls. So what is the solution? I don't know.
It's those long rides, right? Which are you're not used to, or you might even get it if you have like if you try those cadence spins and spin a lot, that's where this will happen. Yeah, and there's not a lot you can do with it.
Okay.
Yeah,
thanks.
if your chronic load gets higher, it's getting less. I mean, that's the good news, but you need to ride harder for longer.
Okay,
to cure
fine.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, I have that
Coach,
sometimes.
Coach, since you had mentioned exercises to Haricharan, again, you had once mentioned about us being okay with doing body weight exercises every day, even on rest days, probably just not one day a week. I mean, we have about 6 minutes left in the meeting. So either during the meeting or later, we'd really like to get a list of exercises that you suggest for us to do on a day-to-day basis.
Oh, isn't it in the weeks prior? Didn't I put it in there? I'll put it in. Yeah, okay. I'll get you a PDF. It's basically 5, 6 the major exercises, right? And yeah,
okay,
they do the trick. Just don't. I mean, if you do push-ups, I always do push-ups where I have like one hand off, or like you push it up and then you raise one arm, right, and the opposing leg, and the other way around, because that's more like we pedal, right? It's left then right, left then right. So it's always through our body in a diagonal way. So that's how I approach those strength exercises as well, and it helps you for daily living as well. I mean, that's Srivatsan again. He's the man. The daily living man. No, it's beneficial for like, yeah, from now till we are gonna die, right? So till the end, yeah. If you do those exercises, you're basically set for life, not only for cycling. Yeah.
Great. And also, if any suggestions that you could give on pre and post ride stretches and whatever.
Yeah. I'll put that in. So next week you have it.
Great. Thanks, Coach.
Coach, I have one peculiar, I would say, like, I've been doing this for a very long time. So I unclip my shoes inwards, both the legs. So I've been doing this for very, very long time. So I'm not able to get over it. I just had a quick chat with Srivatsan on this uh, cramps, and he was suggesting probably this could be an issue. So I just thought of asking you if that could, because I don't think you would have seen anybody unclip inwards.
No, only maybe during a fall. No, yeah, try to change the habit, because it's also, I mean, yeah, you can kiss the chain ring as well with your.
Yeah, I have a lot of kiss marks on my socks, shoes.
So if that
On my
doesn't help you change the pattern, I don't know what's gonna happen. What's going to be happening?
On a serious note, probably that could be really like, I think Shreyas tried to hit the point, like he knows me. So probably I'll try to consciously take my unclip outside, like not inwards.
Yeah. And
I'll
honestly,
try that.
if you have those kind of habits, right? It's, since you did it now 100 times or more, it's all in you, right? So it might be worth for tomorrow. Hey, use half an hour of the 1 hour plus ride to stop pedaling and clip. Yeah, no kidding. Stop pedaling and clip.
Yeah.
You need to practice it
takes
more than you actually did it right now. to set it in your head correctly. So
exactly, it takes a long time to break away from a habit that has been.
It might be worth basically spending a day doing those kind of, if you need to have that tick, so that wrong habit of to get it out of the head again.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks. I think thank you, Srivatsan. Thanks for like pointing it out. Probably this could be the reason. I'll try it out seriously. I'll try to make sure that I unclip the right way. Thanks.
Coach, I really, after the post ride, I don't do this numbers crunching and all. I just look at the data and that's it. So just from my data, anywhere do I need to correct myself, or where I need to gain, and what differences which I should bring into my training?
You mean from a habit pattern past the workout?
Overall, general overview, Coach. Right from my numbers, which is available to you, what would you suggest? The areas where I lack and what I should do to improve.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I think, let me see. Now my other computers were shut down.
Okay.
But we have less than a minute as well, Coach. So
yeah, I'll put it in for you. Okay, in the plan.
And
okay.
As in, I do my rides also on outdoor, so I could help much. I try to do max. That's it. I could not go exactly in sync with the workout sometimes. I try to do some justice. That's it.
Yeah, and that's normal outdoors, but at least try to stay in the zones basically. That would be